Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I got an opportunity to make some more videos, and these are the supplementary videos for the MEd students of Central University of Kashmir who have measured their real classroom lectures on the micro teaching and the skills that are involved in the teaching. So let's move forward. As you know that for any we can say role or what we have to do in the real life, we prepare ourselves for those. You might have seen your brothers, sisters, or some small kids in your home who are like playing the role of the father, or who are playing the role of a mother, or any other. You might have seen the kids playing the role of a teacher in their homes. There are various teacher training institutions who prepare the teachers for the real schools who have to face the real classroom situation. So we can say during the period of the training, those teacher training institutions, they modify the behavior of the people teachers, and there are the techniques, or we say that these teacher training institutions, they use some teacher training techniques, or they use some practice sessions where they train the future teachers, and what the theory they have learned in the classroom, they have to practice it in the practice sessions. So coming back to our today's lecture, that is the micro teaching. The micro teaching, it's one of the teacher training technique through which we train our future teachers so that they can face the real classroom situation. Have you ever seen that if we take our students in the real classroom without preparing them first, and they make the silly mistakes, so to avoid those mistakes, we train them through this micro teaching technique. This micro teaching is a scaled down teaching encountered in the class size or the class time. Basically, there was a research scholar in the St. Ford University, and who first time discovered the video tape recorder could be used to provide the feedback of the demonstration lessons. The research scholar was Keith Anderson, who first time discovered that we can use the videography to give the feedback to the students who are giving the demonstration lessons. He, along with other students in that university, started the video recording of these demonstration lessons so that they can modify the behavior of the teacher trainees who were undergoing the training in that institutions. And after that, we have seen that Ellen is from the same institution who coined this term, the micro teaching, in 1963 in the same institution, the St. Ford University, right? So later on, this micro teaching, it reached to the other countries. We say that it reached to the USA, it reached to UK, or it reached to Netherlands. Where they use this technique to train the future teachers or the prospective teachers. The micro teaching was introduced in India in 1976 by the D.D. Tiwari. He is an Indian who used or who introduced this technique in India, that too in the CPI, that was the Government Pedagogical Institution in Allahabad, and that was situated in Allahabad. And then after in 1970s, there was G.B. Shan, who used or who experimented upon the micro teaching in the University of the Baroda. Then so many technical teacher training institutions introduced this technique to train their future teachers. And W. Ellen, who said that this micro teaching, it is the scaled down teaching, and that too in the class size and in class time. So let me see what is the scale down teaching. So this micro teaching, it's scaled down, or we have reduced it in terms of the class size. That means we are having 5 to 6 students in the class where this session gets, and the class time duration, that means we can have the 6 minutes of class duration, and that too we are reducing the topic size. We in micro teaching, we concentrate not on the topic but on the skill that we have to teach to the students, or that the students have to acquire, right? So the topic is small, and that covers any skill. And also there is the reduction in the classroom complexities, means that if we are having the small number of the students, obviously there will be the less complex class, or there are not we can say more than 6 students, so there is less complex behavior on part of the students, right? So the micro teaching, it's the reduced down teaching in terms of the class size, that we are having only 5 to 6 students in the class. It's reduced down teaching in terms of the time duration. That means we have practice sessions only of the 6 minutes, and there we teach the small topics that covers only the skill, not we have to concentrate on the topic. So there is the less complex class in the micro teaching. In the procedure of the micro teaching, it follows 3 phases. There is the first phase, that is the knowledge acquisition phase. Here we get the knowledge, the skill which we have to practice. We get all the knowledge about the skill. For example, if we have to take the skill of explanation, so we have to go through the theory of the skill. That theory is being given in the knowledge acquisition phase to the students. And second is the skill acquisition phase. When we got the theory of skill of explanation, then we have to practice that. So this skill of acquisition, it's the practice session, right? So here the students, they have to practice a lot, that the skill they have taken in hand. They prepare the micro lesson plan, they teach it and they practice it. They get the feedback of that lesson plan, they get the feedback of their performance, and then if on the basis of that feedback they replan the lesson, and then they are being re-evaluated, and then they have to we can say on the basis of the re-evaluation or re-feedback, they again go through this session until and unless they have got the mastery upon that skill, right? And then one by one we take another skill in hand and practice that skill. So one by one we learn all the teaching skills which are important for the teaching. Okay, so the third phase is, that is the transfer phase. In this phase, we transfer the knowledge to the real classroom. Real class. What we have learned, what we have mastered in the skill acquisition phase, then we transfer that to the real classroom. We integrate all the skills like skill of introduction, skill of explaining, skill of reinforcement, skill of probing questions, or skill of we can say the closure. So we integrate all the skills and then apply them in the real classroom. We may say that the knowledge of the skills which we have got in the knowledge acquisition phase, and then practice them in the skill acquisition phase, we transfer them to the real classroom of 30 to 35 minutes duration. In first phase, what the student does, first he observes the demonstration lessons. These demonstration lessons are being given by the teachers who teach them, right? And then the student analyzes those demonstration lessons and discusses about those demonstration lessons. For example, if as a teacher I may teach you the skill of set induction, then I will give you the demonstration how to use this set induction, right? And there are components, how to use those components, right? And then you are observing and analyzing how the teacher gives the demonstration of this. Then in second phase, go through a lot of practice. So first is that you choose the concept and then plan and prepare the lesson plan, and then after you practice that lesson plan or give the demonstration, and after that when you give the demonstration you are being given the feedback by the teacher or your peer group, and then upon the feedback you can go through the replanning or reteaching sessions also, and then until and unless you master the skill that you have taken in hand, right? And then when you master the skill, you go to the phase third where you transfer your knowledge of the skill and the skill you have practiced it in the real classroom situation. So the third phase is the real classroom where you integrate all the skills in one class, where you try all the skills in one class. After that, so let us see the micro teaching cycle. So there is a cycle which we have to follow to train our people teachers or the prospective teachers through this teaching technique. The first thing is that our student teachers, they plan a micro lesson, right? You have to plan a micro lesson first on any skill, and then you go to the teaching phase, or we can say you go to the teaching session. This teaching session, here you have to teach this micro lesson which you have planned beforehand. So in this this teaching session, the duration of this teaching session is of 6 minutes, right? So you have to teach this micro lesson in 6 minutes. Then after the 6 minutes, you are being given the feedback by whom? By the supervisor and by the peer group. Or peer group means the observers, right? So after the feedback, its duration is also the 6 minutes. So when you are being given feedback, then after you upon the feedback, that may be the positive, that may be the negative, criticism is must, and you have to replan that. So then we replan, and for this replanning we are being given the time of 12 minutes, right? So after replanning we have to reteach that micro lesson, and that in reteach we have been given the time of same the 6 minutes which is in the teaching, right? And then there will be the re-feedback obviously, and the time for that re-feedback is 6 minutes again. So the whole micro lesson, starting from, we exclude this planning because it's before the this cycle starts, right? And then from teaching till the feedback, this micro lesson, it's having the duration of 36 minutes. So the micro teaching cycle is of duration 36 minutes, but the first practice session is of 6 minutes and the first feedback session is of 6 minutes. And the major time which we give to the students is the replanning the lesson, that is of 12 minutes, right? So this is the micro teaching cycle. So there are some principles which we follow in the micro teaching. So first principle is that we have to take only one skill at a time. If we are taking the explanation, then we have to take only explanation. If set induction, then only set induction, right? So we can take only one skill at one time. Until and unless the people teacher acquire a mastery of a single skill, he cannot take the another skill, right? And then uh, we have the limited content. As previously I have told you, we have to concentrate, upon focus upon the skills, right? Not on the content. So there is limited content, but the as we the teacher requires the small content for practicing any skill. So it by this it helps the prospective teachers to teach the small content easily, and by this they can gain the confidence to face the real classroom. And another is the principle of the practice. We say that here the people teacher makes a lot of practice by taking a single skill at a time. So practice makes a man perfect. It helps the prospective teachers to become the better teachers, or to become the best teachers, best future teachers, right? And then another principle is that it follows the principle of immediate feedback. The feedback in this micro lesson, it's being given immediately after the teaching session, as you have seen in the previous slide. So hereby the we can say the feedback provided to the people teachers or the prospective teachers, it helps them to improve their teaching, and we can say it helps them to feel their weaknesses, or to feel their drawbacks in their teaching. And after that there is one more principle, that is the principle of experimentation. As you have seen that there is a lot of experimentation involved in the micro teaching. The experiments like we it consists of we have we can say the objectives like the observation of the actions performed by the people teachers or the prospective teachers under the controlled conditions. The peer group and the supervisor conducts the experiment on the teaching skills under controlled conditions, like we control the time duration, we control the content of the lesson to be taught, and also we control the students who are how much the students are staying in the classroom, right? So and after that we are having one more principle, that is the principle of evaluation. So, in micro teaching, there is a continuous assessment of the demonstration lessons or the performance that are being done by our future teachers. The evaluation may help the future teachers or the learners to know about the drawbacks, and then they are able to improve their micro lessons or their teaching skills. In the micro lessons, we can say that each micro lesson which is being supervised by the supervisor or by the peer group of the that prospective teacher, and they say they criticize the teaching of that prospective teacher. They show him the drawbacks which he is having. They pinpoint the drawbacks and they give some suggestions how they overcome those drawbacks. And we can also see that there is a self-evaluation procedure possible in the micro teaching. The evaluation by evaluation, we ensure that our learners learn any skill in a good and best way, right? So after that, we are having the another principle, that is the principle of individualized teaching. This micro teaching, only the single people teacher goes under training, we can say under a thorough training. there is being individual attention is being paid to each and every these prospective teacher by the supervisor. So the drawbacks or the weaknesses in the teaching are being pinpointed, and they are being given the suggestions how to overcome those weaknesses or the drawbacks, and how to make the improvement in their teaching. And we say that supervisor gives the individual attention to each people teacher in the practice sessions. One more principle is there, that is the principle of continuity. So learning of we can say the different teaching skills is a continuous process in these micro teaching training programs. The people teacher is learning one skill at a time, and we say that learning continues until and unless he gets the mastery over the skill. So the for each skill, the principle of continuity is being used, and it makes the teacher a good and effective teacher. So I hope you have understood this lecture. In another lecture, we will be coming with the teaching skills. If you like this video, don't forget to give the thumbs up to this video. Share this video with other students so that the student community get benefited from this video. If you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get the new notifications of our videos. Thank you very much. God bless you.